everyone, welcome to our movie review presentation. And I'm Varun. Today we are diving deep into the one of the most iconic films ever made, Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of Black Pearl. This isn't just any picture movie. It released in 2003. This film became a global phenomenon that changed blockbuster cinema forever. It launched a franchise, made Jack Sparrow a household name. It's worth remembering because of Johnny Depp himself, and I'm the example. Yeah, he's great. And proved that you could make a smart, entertaining, and culturally significant action film all at once. By the numbers, this film sits a solid 8.5 out of 10. That means it's genuinely great, worth watching, worth quoting, worth remembering. It's not perfect, but it's damn close. It revolutionized how we think about adventure films. Today, you're going to hear from six of us, and each person is covering different aspects of masterpiece. Here's you will be hearing from what they are bringing to the table. First up is Varun, and I am Varun. I'll break down the strengths of the film, and I'm going to tell you why Johnny Depp's Jack Sparrow's genius. And we have Aagash covering the key learnings and takeaways. Then Dhanushwin comes through with weakness and areas of improvement. After that, Ankita tackling motivation, message, and audience impact. Then Thanu delivers the overall assessments and final verdict. And Likitha Snozy Farzana. She starts with novelty and originality. So that's our team. Six different perfect perspectives and one incredible film. We are going to give you complete breakdown of Pirates of Caribbean, The Curse of Black Pearl. What works, what doesn't, what it means, and whatever it deserves the whole hype. This isn't just a movie review. This is a deep diving into the filmmaking craft and cultural impact and what makes cinema matter. So stick with us, you'll understand exactly why this film is legendary. Let's get into it. Likitha, take it away.
When you hear the name Pirates of the Caribbean, you don't just think of a movie. You think of adventure, humor, and unforgettable characters sailing across the wild sea. Released in 2003, this film changed the way pirate movies were seen and brought new life to a genre that was once considered outdated. Unlike traditional historical pirate films, Pirates of the Caribbean is not meant to be realistic. Instead, it is a perfect blend of high-octane action, slapstick comedy, and supernatural mythology. This unique myth is what made the movie stand out and connect with audience of all ages. At the heart of the film is its core narrative. The story revolves around cursed pirates, hidden treasure, daring sea battles, and clever escapes. But what truly drives the movie is its characters, especially the Captain Jack Sparrow. Jack is not a typical heroic pirate. He is a witty, unpredictable, slightly foolish, yet surprisingly clever. His humor and charm add a fresh and entertaining tone to the film. Another interesting aspect of the movie is its origin story. Pirates of the Caribbean achieved something very rare in cinema. It has successfully transformed a Disney theme park ride into a fully fledged blockbuster movie series. What could have been a risky idea turned into a massive success because of strong storytelling, engaging visuals, and memorable music. The film also balances its three main elements very well. Action keeps the audience excited with sword fight and ship battles. Comedy lightens the mood through with witty dialogues and funny situations. Mythology adds depth with cursed gold, immortal pirates, and mysterious legends. Visually, the movie is stunning. From moonlit seas to airy cave. Visually, the movie is stunning. From moonlit sea to airy cave, the setting creates a magical pirate world. The background score further enhances the adventure, making every scene feel grand and dramatic. Pirates of the Caribbean is more than just a movie. It is a fun, adventurous fantasy that redefined the genre that left a lasting impact on cinema. Real talk, is this movie actually original? Or Is it just a really good version of the same old story? The plot? No, not original. Rescue mission, dark lords, magical cars, hero saves the day. We have seen this 1,000 times, so if you only look at the skeleton, Pirates is following a formula that has existed for centuries. And then there is Jack Sparrow, who is completely original. Before this, pirate movies had serious heroes. Jack is drunk, chaotic, unreliably hilarious, and somehow the heart of the entire movie. That doesn't work in the theory, it works brilliantly in practice. Johnny Depp created something that had literally never been seen in mainstream cinemas. And now everyone copies Jack because they realize audience will embarrass weird eccentric protagonists if they were well written. This film moves between genuine horror comedy, action and romance without it feeling jarring. Most films pick one lane, Paris does all of them. That balance, that's creative execution that influence how movies are made now. The cinematography is distinctive, the color grading, the composition, the way the light is used. It feels specific to this film. The cursed pirate in moonlight became iconic because of original visual choice. So yeah, 7 by 10 on originality. The structure is familiar, but the perspective is fresh. The film didn't invent adventure storytelling, but it brought something new to how it's done. True originality isn't always about doing something nobody's ever done. It's about doing something in a way that nobody's quite done it before. Pirates take archetypical storytelling and execute it with such personality, such craft and such intelligence that it feels genuinely new. That's the kind of originality that matters, and that's why the film is still watched even after 20 plus years.
Let us talk about the key learning of the film Pirates of the Caribbean. At first, the movie appears to be very fun, action-packed adventure with pirates, ships, fights, and comedy. When we look deeper, we realize that the film carries strong underlying themes that make it meaningful. These themes are leadership, courage, teamwork, and intelligence. Leadership. One of the most important concept of the movie is leadership, especially delivered by Jack Sparrow, the hero of the movie. He is not a conventional leader, unlike typical heroes. He does not rely on physical strength, authority, and discipline. Instead, his leadership style is unpredictable, strategic, and intelligent. At times, he appears careless, humorous, and even foolish, but as the story progresses, we realize that his actions are calculated. Some of the leads by Jack Sparrow we understood is understanding human behavior, anticipating outcomes, adapting quickly to changing situations. This shows us the relationship leadership is not always about commanding others. Courage, the second key theme of the story, demonstrated by Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann. Will Turner, his journey as a simple blacksmith, he is not trained as a warrior and has no experience with pirates and battles. However, when the people he cares about are in danger, he shows remarkable courage. He faces pirates, risks his life, and steps outside his comfort zone to do what is right. Elizabeth Swann also displays exceptional bravery. She refuses to remain a helpless character and instead take bold decisions. She faces danger head on, resists fear, and proves that courage is not limited by gender or social position. Teamwork. Through the story, no single character achieves success alone. Jack Sparrow, Will Turner, Elizabeth Swann, and others are forced to work together even when they don't trust each other fully. Each character has a unique personality, skill set, and motivation, yet they realize that collaboration is necessary to survive and succeed. movie highlights that we learned derive skill, strengthen a team, cooperation leads to better outcomes, unity can come over stronger enemies. This reinforces the idea that teamwork is essential in both fictional adventure and real life. Success often depends on how well people work together despite differences. Intelligence. One of the strongest message of Pirates of the Caribbean is most important intelligence over physical strength. Jack Sparrow rarely wins through force. Instead, he relies on clever planning, psychological tactics, negotiating, and manipulating. Many conflicts in the movie film are resolved not through violence but through strategy and smart decision making. This theme emphasizes that intelligence is a powerful tool and the thinking cleverly can often solve the problems more effective than brutal strength. To conclude, the overall learning, Pirates of the Caribbean is far more than pirate adventure film beneath its entertaining surface. It delivers meaningful lessons on leadership through adaptability and intelligence, courage in the face of uncertainty, the importance of teamwork, the power of wit over strength.
Yo, so Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of Black Pearl is absolutely a chef's kiss. And let me tell you why. This movie didn't just nail it, it became the entire nail factory. When this film came out in 2003, nobody was expecting a movie about a drunk pirate to become a global phenomenon. But here we are. The movie is a masterclass in how to do a blockbuster. I'm going to break down exactly why with 5 strengths. First strength, Johnny Depp's Jack Sparrow. First off, the Johnny Depp's Jack Sparrow is basically what happens when you let a rock star play a pirate. And honestly, it inspired. And this is because of him. It works. The man's stumbling around like he just fell off a ship, but somehow he's the smartest person in every scene. That's genius. Genius character writing right there. Think about it. Jack is drunk, he's confused, he's unreliable, he's selfish. He makes terrible decisions by every traditional standard. He should be annoying, but he is not. He's magnetic. Why? Because Johnny Depp. He is Johnny Depp. Understood something crucial. The character is self-aware. He knows who he is. He is a mess, and he leans into it. He's weirdly heroic and not despite his flaws. Because of them, we all know someone like this, right? That friend who shouldn't work in any situation, but somehow they do. That person who's a chaos incarnate, but you'd follow them anywhere. Jack Sparrow is that person, elevated to art form. And that's not just good acting, that's brilliant character creation. Second strength, second strength, screenplay and writing. The screenplay deserves its own moment here because this script could have been disaster. You got a blacksmith, a drunk pirate, a cursed crew, a girl in distress, even the British Navy, and ancient curses. It should feel messy. No, it should feel like too many things happening at once. No, it doesn't. The writers, they understood a tone. This movie moves between horror and comedy without feeling jarring. You go from Port Royal being brutally attacked, genuinely scary stuff, to Jack stumbling onto dock in the most ridiculous way possible. The transitions feel weird. It doesn't. It feels right. The pacing is tight. There is not a scene that feels like a filler. Every moment either advances a plot, deepens a character. And in a 143-minute movie, that's an achievement. Most blockbuster at this length have fat that could have been cut, but Pirates doesn't. Third strength, cinematography and visual language. The cinematography is stunning, and I don't mean just pretty cameras. I mean intentionally visual storytelling. Port Royal is all golden light and proper geometry. It represents order, structure, civilization. When the cursed pirates arrive, the light becomes harsh and sickly. The cursed pirates themselves in moonlight. Yeah, moonlight. Absolutely terrifying. Yes. Like if skeletons could actually have a bad day and we are genuinely upset about it. There is iconic image because the cinematographer made choices. And the SWAT fights, you can actually see them. Him. You know who is hitting the who. which honestly is rare these days. A lot of action films cut so fast you can't follow the geography at the fight. Pirates lets you see the action clearly, which means you feel the impact in every blow. The color grading, the composition, the way light is used to create a mood, it's all intentional. That's a mark of cinematographer who understood the story being told. Fourth strength, Gore Verbinski's direction. Gore Verbinski directed this like he was born to make a big pirate movies. This was his first major film, and he controlled the scope and complexity flawlessly. The pacing, especially, nothing drags. 1 minute you're watching the Port Royal get destroyed. The next minute Jack's doing something ridiculous. Yeah. Next minute you're emotionally invested in whether will actually saves Elizabeth. The control is hard. Most directors struggles with it, but Verbinski makes it look easy. He also managed to make an action film where action serves the story. The climatic battle at Isla, man, it matters because we care about the characters. The stakes feels real because the direction made us care about Elizabeth and about Jack. The fifth strength The fifth strength is Geoffrey Rush and Barbosa, the man and charming and most quotable villain ever. Savvy. Yeah, became a thing because of how Rush delivered it. He's scary, genuinely intimidating, but he is also likable. Yeah, he's likable. You understand why his crew follows him. You understand why he's complex. Barbosa could have been a one-dimensional bad guy. Instead, he is a person with motivations we understand. He trapped by a curse, desperate to be a human again. That desperation is what makes him dangerous and sympathetic simultaneously. Why it all works? Here's the thing. The movie didn't just get one thing right. Every element worked. The script was smart. The performances were incredible. The direction was tight. The cinematography was beautiful. The production design was immaculate. The music was iconic. Hans Zimmer though. Bro. When you have that level of execution across every department, something special happens. The movie doesn't just entertain, it becomes a cultural phenomenon. It changes expectation for what blockbusters can be. This film provides a movie could be sophisticated and have fun simultaneously. I proved that a blockbuster could be smart. It proved that audience would have embraced weird, drunk, and eccentric protagonist if he was well written. It proved that you could have balanced action, comedy, romance, adventure in a single film without any of them suffering. The bottom line of the story is great script, incredible performance, beautiful visuals, smart direction, and tight pacing. When everything clicks like this, you get something that's lasts. That's not just entertainment, that's filmmaking, craft at the highest level. And that's the strength of the Pirates of the Caribbean. And this is for you, Jack Sparrow. Jack Sparrow on the Black Pearl and Johnny Depp on the case. We salute you, Captain.
Okay, let's talk about the weaknesses of the film. Guys, Pirates of Caribbean is one of my most favorite films. I genuinely love this film, but it would be very unfair to call it flawless, guys. Great film, that is undeniable. But great films can still have weaknesses, and acknowledging them does not diminish their value. In fact, it often deepens our appreciation of what works. The first weakness I need to address is on the pacing and editing, guys. One of the most noticeable issue it appears in the second act, particularly the island sequence with Jack and Elizabeth. Guys, the sequence on its own is very entertaining. It contains strong character interaction, for memorable comedic beats. However, the problem is not the content but the length. The jokes are perfect. The characters' moment work effectively. But the repetition, especially the extended running gags, slows the overall pacing, guys. We understand the situation fairly and quickly. Yet the scene continues long after its purpose has been served. My suggestion is to be trimming 5 to 7 minutes from this section could have made the narrative tighter, sharper, and more energetic. And the second problem I find is on the narrative and complexity, where where the film could have gone further and developed more. Jeffrey Rush is the one played the character Barbossa, guys. Guys, Jeffrey Rush delivers a memorable performance and his presence is undeniably commanding. But the character Barbossa himself remains somewhat one-dimensional. He is essentially portrayed as a cursed pirate and who is very desperate to feel alive again. The story hints at the depth, but yet never fully explores his past, his motives, of the or the philosophical impact of immortality on his psyche. Why did he choose this path? What kind of man was he before the curse? Does immortality feels like punishment or merely inconvenience? Guys, exploring even a small portion of these questions would have transformed Barbossa from a great villain into a legendary one. There are also moments where the plot relies a bit too heavily on convenience, guys. Jack conveniently knows the location of a stranded ship. The Navy conveniently arrives at the exact right moment. These choices keep the story moving. The story is perfectly moving, but they slightly reduces the tension. Guys, real suspense is created when plans fail, when characters must adapt, and when outcomes feel uncertain. But here in this film, things tend to fall in place just a little too neatly. And the last problem I find is character imbalance and repetition, guys, especially Elizabeth Swann's character. She feels somewhat limited in the first half of the film. For much of the story, Elizabeth is placed in situation where she needs to be rescued. Although she becomes more proactive and impressive during the climax, giving her greater agency earlier would have strengthened her role more. Small choices like such as allowing her escape on her own or making a risky decision could have signaled her growth more sooner, my belief. And finally, it is important to emphasize that these are not fatal flaws, guys. They do not break the film. They do not ruin the experience. Most viewers, including myself, are willing to overlook them, but they are very noticeable on repeat viewings. And that is where thoughtful criticism matters, guys. Great movies withstand scrutiny because their strengths still shine through. The movie remains highly entertaining, iconic, and endlessly rewatchable. However, these small imperfections are what prevent it from achieving absolute perfection. And honestly, in my point of view, that is perfectly okay because great films do not need to be flawless. They just need to be memorable. That's it.
So, what's the movie really about? Like, it's not just pirates steal treasure, it's actually about breaking free. So, the movie Pirates of the Caribbean is basically a rebellion against boring adulthood. Like, Elizabeth is trapped in expectations of like proper dresses, proper manners, proper boyfriends, while Will is stuck being a blacksmith when he clearly wants adventure. And Jack is literally the embodiment of I'm not playing a game. So, what exactly the film tells audiences is that your life does not have to look like what society planned for you. You can be weird, you can fail, you can try again. And honestly, that's liberating. And that's exactly why people obsess over Jack Sparrow. He is that friend who does whatever he wants and somehow survives. And then there's this beautiful secondary message about redemption. So Jet's being betrayed by his crew, left for dead. And instead of becoming bitter, he becomes clever. While Will, the son of a so-called criminal, he becomes the hero. So the film is basically saying you are not your circumstances. You are what you do with your circumstances. And this is why it hits different. For young people, this movie is like permission slip to escape, to take risk, to live loudly. For adults, it's like a nostalgia hit, like when they had that energy and that freedom. And for women, Elizabeth literally punches a man, steals a key, and makes the final decision. And that's the kind of representation that mattered in 2003. And eventually, culturally, in the 9/11 era, when everyone was stressed, afraid, this film quietly said, be free, be chaotic, trust your weird instincts. And that's a radical message wrapped inside entertainment. And that's why it worked. That's why it lasted. And that's why people still quote Jack Sparrow.
Among the adventure movies, Pirates of Caribbean can be considered very highly successful and a memorable movie because it combines adventure, fantasy, action, humor in a very engaging way. So when we look at the film as a whole, it stands out more than just a pirate story. So it creates a complete cinematic experience that keeps the audience very entertained from beginning to the end. uh, one of the strongest aspects of the movie is how well the elements are put together. The storyline, the characters, the background score, the visual effects, the dialogues are very well balanced. So the movie never feels boring, even though it's quite long. Each scene of the movie, it moves the story forward either by developing the characters or adding humor or increasing the suspense. So this makes the audience stay connected throughout the movie. And another important point in the overall assessment is the impact of the characters. So Captain Jack Sparrow in particular leaves a very lasting impression. So his unique personality, witty dialogue delivery, and unpredictable behavior make him one of the most iconic characters in the movie history. So at the same time, so characters like Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann, they are the emotional depth, bravery, and seriousness to the story. So the balance between comedy and seriousness makes the movie very enjoyable to different types of viewers. So if we take from a technical point of view, the cinematography captures the beauty of the sea, the ship, the islands very effectively, and the background music, especially the main theme. So it adds the excitement and energy to the scenes, and it's instantly recognizable. And the visual effects, particularly the cursed skeleton pirates, that was very innovative and very well executed at the time, so making the movie very visually appealing even today. So when evaluating the movie overall, it is also very important to consider the entertainment value of the movie. So the film successfully appeals to wide audience, so including children, teenagers, and adults. So the it offers action for adventure lovers, humor for comedy fans, and emotional moments for the drama viewers, and fantasy elements for those who enjoy the imaginative stories. So this wide appeal is one of the key reasons for the movie's global success. And however, like any movie, it is not completely perfect. So some viewers may feel that certain scenes are slightly stretched, and maybe somewhere the storyline can become a little complex, but these minor issues do not significantly reduce the overall enjoyment of the movie. So instead, the strengths of the movie outweighs the weaknesses of the movie. And in my final verdict, I would say that Pirates of Caribbean is an outstanding and an entertainment movie that successfully redefined the pirate genre in cinema. It delivers a perfect mix of adventure, humor, action, fantasy, while also providing a very strong characters and the memorable moments. And the movie not only entertains but also leaves a very lasting impact on the audience through its storytelling and the performances. And overall, the Pirates of Caribbean deserves a high appreciation for its creativity, and uh, it is a film that can be watched multiple times without losing its charm. Therefore, I would rate this movie very highly and strongly recommend it to anybody who enjoys adventure and fantasy films. Uh, Thank you so much. This was presented by Aagash, Ankita, Dhanushwin, Varun, Likitha, and Thanu.